The 300 Spartans who held the pass at Thermopylae carried armor, weapons, and supplies across hundreds of kilometers of rough terrain on foot. They arrived prepared to fight an army of hundreds of thousands. They did this without supplements, without periodized programming, without machines, and without any of the tools the modern fitness industry insists are necessary for results. What they had instead were 3 core movement patterns trained relentlessly over years. Here is exactly what those movements were and how to replicate them with what you already have at home. So the question that should be sitting in your head right now is this: what were these warriors actually doing? Because whatever it was, it produced results that modern training programs still struggle to replicate, and it required almost nothing to do it. The answer comes down to 3 specific movements. And by the end of this video, one of them is going to change the way you think about training completely. Spartan trainers operated on a principle that modern fitness has largely abandoned, somewhere between the rise of the bodybuilding split and the popularization of the seated machine. The body becomes formidable when it is forced to produce force, absorb impact, and sustain output the way the body was actually designed to. Not isolated, not segmented, not propped up by a padded bench. Whole, connected, under demanding conditions. Here's what that looked like in practice. By the way, if you want to heal your entire body and feel 10 years younger, then I've created a guide showing you how to heal your body through simple exercises. Click the link in the description for access. Exercise 1. The Spartan Heavy Carry. The agoge was the formal Spartan upbringing system, and according to Plutarch and Xenophon, boys entered it at around the age of 7. They were required to walk barefoot, sleep on rough beds of reeds they cut themselves from the Eurotas River, and survive on minimal rations that they often had to supplement by foraging or stealing. By the time they reached military age, they had spent more than a decade moving across the Laconian countryside under conditions designed to harden the body to the demands of carrying war equipment. Once they became hoplites, the load they carried was substantial. Greek hoplites typically wore or carried bronze and linen armor, a heavy shield called the aspis, weighing around 6 to 7 kilograms, a spear, a sword, and provisions, with total loads that historians estimate at roughly 25 to 30 kilograms in full kit. They marched in this equipment, formed phalanx lines under it, and fought engagements wearing it. This movement takes the principle behind that load-bearing tradition, sustained loaded locomotion under significant weight, and applies it to equipment available today. Pick up a heavy dumbbell, kettlebell, or loaded bag in each hand. Stand tall. Walk. The simplicity is the entire point. Most people will not last 60 seconds under genuinely heavy load before form breaks down completely. What's happening underneath is the reason loaded carries have been a constant in military conditioning for thousands of years. The grip is under continuous demand. The forearms, shoulders, traps, upper back, and entire spinal column are bracing against gravity for every single step. There is no rest point. There is no rep count to chase. Just sustained tension. At the same time, the core is not flexing or rotating. It is resisting. As each step shifts weight slightly side to side, the deep stabilizers of the spine fire to keep the torso upright. This is one of the most functional forms of core training that exists. It is the kind that protects the spine when something heavy and unbalanced needs to be moved through space. And because the entire posterior chain is supporting the load while the legs propel the body forward, the cardiovascular demand arrives almost immediately. 3 rounds of 60 to 90 seconds with moderate to heavy load. Walk in a straight line. Set the weight down only when grip or posture begins to fail. The set ends when form ends. Exercise 2. the Spartan combat squat. Here is something often left out of discussions of Spartan training. Wrestling was a central part of Greek athletic and military preparation, and the Spartans practiced it extensively. Plutarch describes Spartan girls, as well as boys, engaging in wrestling and physical contests, which was unusual for the Greek world at the time. For Spartan men, wrestling and Pancratian-style grappling were considered essential preparation for the close-quarters reality of phalanx combat, where shields collided and men fought at arm's length. This meant Spartan warriors had to be powerful in deep, low positions. The phalanx required holding ground against the pressure of an opposing line. Wrestling required dropping the center of gravity below an opponent's. Both demanded the ability to produce force from a deep, loaded squat under pressure. Taking that demand and reducing it to its core mechanics produces this movement. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Hold a load at your chest, a heavy stone, a sandbag, a kettlebell, or a dumbbell held vertically. Drop into a deep squat with your chest tall and elbows tucked. Pause at the bottom. Drive up explosively, then immediately drop back down with control. The contrast between explosive ascent and controlled descent is the entire point. This trains something almost no machine can develop: the ability to produce force out of a deep position with no momentum and no assistance. Most lower body strength is built in the upper half of a range of motion. The deep squat position is precisely where most trained bodies are weakest, because it is the position they almost never load. Spartan warriors did not have the option of choosing their position in close combat. Neither did wrestlers. Both groups trained extensively in the position they were most likely to find themselves in under pressure. The chest-loaded position keeps the spine vertical, the core fully engaged, and the legs and hips producing the entire output. It is honest training. There is no leverage trick that makes it easier. Either the body can move the load out of the bottom, or it cannot. 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps with a deliberate pause at the bottom of each repetition. The pause removes the stretch reflex and forces the muscles to generate force from a true dead start. That difference is significant. Exercise 3. The Spartan loaded run. This is the one that surprises people most. Spartan warriors were not pure strength athletes in the modern sense. They were endurance athletes who carried weight. The march from Sparta to Thermopylae covered hundreds of kilometers of rough terrain, and the soldiers who arrived there did so on foot, carrying their own equipment, prepared to fight at the end of it. Greek hoplites generally were expected to march long distances under load, and then engage in sustained combat almost immediately afterward. This combination, prolonged movement under significant weight followed by explosive output, is one of the most demanding adaptations a human body can develop. And it is one that almost no modern training program addresses directly. Here is the modern replication. Wear a weighted vest, loaded backpack, or carry a moderately heavy object. Move at a brisk walk or steady jog over varied terrain. Hills are better than flat ground. Rough terrain is better than pavement. Cover meaningful distance, ideally 20 to 40 minutes per session, depending on load and conditioning level. Now, here is what surprises people the first time they try genuine loaded movement. Within the first 10 minutes, the cardiovascular demand exceeds anything they typically experience in a gym. The lungs work harder. The heart rate climbs and holds. The legs accumulate fatigue not in the way running alone produces, but in the deep structural way that signals connective tissue and stabilizers are being loaded as well as the primary movers. This is where loaded movement becomes diagnostic. Weak ankles will reveal themselves on uneven ground. A weak posterior chain will create lower back fatigue almost immediately. Tight hips will cause a visibly compensatory gait. The movement finds the problems, and forces the body to adapt under real load in real time. The conditioning effect is unmatched by anything that doesn't include resistance. The cardiovascular system, the muscular system, and the connective tissue are all being trained simultaneously, exactly the way Spartan warriors trained them through the daily reality of military life. The body adapts to the integrated demand, or it slows down. There is no isolation, no segmentation, no separation of cardio and strength. For beginners, 15 to 20 minutes with moderate load over varied terrain. For more advanced training, 30 to 45 minutes with heavier load. 2 to 3 sessions per week is enough to produce significant adaptation within a couple of months. These 3 movements together address every quality a complete training program needs to develop. Total body grip and postural strength, deep position power, explosive output from compromised positions, sustained cardiovascular capacity under load, connective tissue density, and the kind of structural conditioning that historical military traditions consistently produced. Spartan trainers did not divide training into strength days and cardio days. They didn't separate the body into muscle groups and schedule them across a week. They built complete physical capacity because their warriors needed complete physical capacity in battle, on the march, and in daily life. The bodies that history remembers from Sparta and the wider Greek world weren't the result of more equipment or more complex programs. They were the result of better principles, applied consistently, with almost nothing. And if you want to heal your entire body and feel 10 years younger, I've created a guide showing you exactly how to do that through simple exercises. Click the link in the description for access.